Are you looking for great, high-performing water filtration products for your family? Are you looking to support the North American manufacturers? Are you looking to support job growth and the North American economy? Well, of course you are. And so aren't all products made in China these days? Well, of course not. There's lots of water filtration products available on the market, and that's my purpose here today, is to share those products with you, talk about how they work, are they more expensive, all the factors about them. I'm going to share that with you starting right now. Hi, I'm Gary the Water Guy, and I simplify water filtration to help you conquer crappy water for your family. So this live stream is whether you're a do-it-yourselfer, whether you're a homeowner, or whether you're a water filtration specialist, this video is definitely for you. Plumbers too, absolutely. There's going to be lots of great information here. So what I'm presenting to you today is our full range of made in North America water filtration products, so you can be aware of what's available out there, the choices that you have. But more importantly than that, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience in the field. I've been in the field for 20 years. I've been out there doing service work, etc. And I can tell you what it's like to work with the Chinese stuff, the Korean stuff, and the North American stuff, and really what's the difference. So definitely it's something for you to check out. And all right. So now I'm really hoping that you can participate in the live stream. We're getting questions, and I'm going to put your comments up on the screen just like I did here. And so I really encourage you to submit your comments, and we'll answer them during this live stream, and I can tailor it definitely for you. Now, we're also going to have a replay on this later on that you can always check back anytime in the future and check out the information that we shared here today. And you can check that out for yourself. I'm going to have links in the description down below that take you right to some of the videos I'm going to be talking about, but also the products I'm going to be talking about. Now, all the products we talk about here today are available on our e-commerce website. In the US, that's watereStore.com, and in Canada, that's watereStore.ca. So definitely check that stuff out. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some exciting information about our YouTube channel a little bit later, and I definitely like you to share in that. It's really exciting stuff. So why is this important to you? Well, before you invest in water filtration, you need to know what's available out there, and you need to compare directly the different products, and you need to know some of the pros and the cons. Now, today I'm talking about North American made water filtration products. Now, I haven't found any Mexican made water filtration products available in Canada or the US. So when I refer to North America tonight in this live stream, I'm really referring to Canada and the US. And yeah, if you think I'm looking down at my notes, you're right. That's exactly what I'm doing. But anyway, there's a lot of information I present in these live streams, and I want to make sure I don't skip anything, and that's why I've got notes that I refer to. So keep in mind that water filtration products are installed in your home, and that's really, really important key, because we're talking about containing water within your home and providing a service, that is water filtration. Now, something you don't want to skimp on, because if you've ever experienced a large insurance claim like I have, not for water but for something else, it's a real pain. So saving that $50 or $100 or $150 on a water filtration product by getting a substandard product is not really in your best interest. Always keep that in mind going forward. So let's talk about North American manufacturing just as a bit of an intro to all this. Is North American manufacturing dead? No, absolutely not. In fact, far from it. In the US, $5.3 trillion, and in Canada, $615 billion worth of goods are generated every year. That surpasses every other sector, from real estate to healthcare to retail and construction. Millions of Americans and Canadians are still employed in manufacturing. In fact, nearly 12.5 million Americans and 1.7 million Canadians as of June 2017. For Canadians, that's about 10% of the Canadian workforce. And manufacturing is a job creator. One job created in the steel industry creates 7 additional jobs. And 1 out of 25 U.S. jobs are tied to the American U.S. auto industry. So your friends, your families, and your neighbors, a lot of them are employed in this industry. So keep that in mind. Manufacturing jobs also pay better. According to the National Association of Manufacturers reports, manufacturing workers earned in 2015 about $81,000 annually compared to an average of $63,000. So they pay higher. For workers without a college degree, manufacturing pays $1.78 an hour more. For every American, if every American spent just $64 more each year on made in America goods, they'd create another 200,000 jobs. And also think about overseas manufacturing. So they have a lot less stringent rules about pollution, recycling standards, and things like that. So when you shop made in North America, you support that industry and you support less pollution. Consider too the extra pollution by the shipping industry, shipping all those goods from China or Korea to North America. All that all that contributes a lot of pollution. In fact, they figure 1 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions are just created by the shipping industry alone. And of course, there's human rights issues when it comes to things like child labor laws, etc. And that's definitely something that needs to be borne in mind. And also, remember that North American manufacturers contribute to the tax base. Higher production standards, gross domestic product. We have higher production standards that are required by the consumer protection laws in Canada and the US, and that's also something to be considered. And in 2016, Canadian manufacturing accounted for 10.4% of the country's entire gross domestic product. Cool stuff. So before we get into the products, let me talk a little bit more about that exciting news that I was talking about a little bit earlier. And what I'm talking about here is 20,000 subscribers. Our channel, Gary the Water Guy, has reached 20,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate that. That happened just a couple of days ago, and I really appreciate all of you that have subscribed. That's fantastic. I really, really appreciate that. And so that's fantastic. It took me almost 8 years to get to 10,000 subscribers, and then within the last year, we just added another 10,000 subscribers. So I definitely think that we're doing something right. If you're not a subscriber yet, please click the button and click the bell so you get notified about all the new videos that we have coming up, and a lot of great topics in the queue, and definitely encourage you to check that out. And just seeing if we're getting some questions. No, lots of folks responded to the audio concerns I had earlier on, and I'm glad we're over that. So we're moving on. All right. So so again, thanks everyone for your support. I really appreciate the subscribers. It's great. And okay, so we know the benefits about shopping North America. Let's get into the products. That's what you're here for today. So all right. So one of the first things I'd like to talk about is Hume Water Care. So Hume Water Care is our own brand. And so what, do we have our own factory? No. We take other manufacturers' products and we group them under our Hume Water Care umbrella. And so what that does is it allows you a place to go to first. If you're looking for a water softener or an iron filter or something like that, if you're looking for the really great stuff, go to Hume Water Care first. Those are our products. And we're adding more and more products to that all the time. They're products that we've proven for ourselves, we use ourselves, are in my house, etc. So that's definitely a great place to start. And so again, I've got a video a link to the video down below that kind of explains that whole Hume Water Care, and it's definitely something you want to check out. So this guy behind me here is a Hume Water Care water softener. So we don't just have them in as water softener, we also have them as an iron filter, a tannin filter, a backwashable carbon filter, a chloramine filter, tannin filter, the whole range of backwashable filters and water softeners, etc. are all available in this line. And they're manufactured in the United States. If you order it in the US, we ship from our US warehouse, and you get them manufactured in the United States. The ones in Canada are also manufactured in Canada, assembled in Canada. So again, if you order in Canada, they're shipped from our Canadian, the company that assembles for us here in Canada. So definitely something to keep in mind, and it's a great product. And we use the Clack WS1 valve on our water softeners and our filtration products, the best valve in the industry. And again, that valve is fully manufactured in the United States, so it's a great product. And you can compare it to some of the other products out there. So what's become somewhat popular in the last year or two is a company that's knocking off these water softeners, or these valves. So this is a Clack 5600. This valve has been around forever. And when I say forever, it's literally been around for 50 years. And that's how they can legally knock those off now. So yeah, those products are out there. They're made in Korea, and they're a much lower price point than these ones over here. But the problem with them is it's 50-year-old technology. It's super inefficient. It's totally analog. It has no power cell backup. So, you know, it's it's there, and if you're looking for something really cheap, it's there, but you're not going to get any kind of efficiency out of it whatsoever. The other thing that we always include with all of our valves is we put neoprene jackets on them, and the neoprene jackets are a great accessory. And so what they do is they insulate the outside of the jacket so that you don't get sweating on the outside of the jacket, but you also don't get the mold growth, and it makes a huge difference. And they're actually washable, so that's included with every one of our Hume water care products. And so let's talk a little bit more about the alternative. You know, the big box store water softeners, the Chinese, the Korean ones, etc. What about those ones? What are those ones like? Well, again, we're in the field every day. I just had a phone call today about a customer that bought one of those, had a local plumber install it. It's never worked. He's never been able to get it worked. It was a licensed plumber that installed it, that should know how to, and I know they've installed water softeners before, so they should know what they're doing. I'm heading out there next week to check it out for the guy, but it's never worked. And we've heard that story way too many times, that customer picks up a water softener at a big box store, has it installed by a plumber, and it doesn't work at all, or it works very poorly, or it works for a very short period of time. And so what's the deal with those? Well, first of all, the parts are very, very difficult to get. There's usually no parts diagram, so you can't figure out what parts you want. But hey, they're guaranteed, right? They've got a warranty on them. Great. So they have a 1-800 number. You call that 1-800 number and you say, hey, we installed my water softener and it's not working. They'll go through a few questions with you, etc. And they'll say, oh, you need a part. And what they'll do is they'll send you out a part. You'll install that part. Guess what? Makes no difference whatsoever. And so that goes on for a period of time. After a while, you finally say, I've had enough of this. I'm taking this thing back. Okay, so you take it back. So you've had it installed. Maybe you paid you paid a plumber $300 to install it, or you installed it yourself. So now you got to take the time to uninstall it. You got to drain it because they're full of water and they're super heavy. You got to schlep it upstairs, put it in the back of your car, take it back to whatever big box store you bought it from. They'll give you another one. Then you get another one, you take it back home, and again, you either pay somebody, again, $300 to install it, or maybe they'll discount it, $250 or something like that, because the plumbing's already put in there. But how does that help you? And then cross your fingers that it's going to work. And when they do work, yeah, you might get a year or two out of it. If you're really, really super lucky, you might get 10 years out of it. But typically, they last about 3 to 5 years, and then you go through the whole process again. So think about whether that's something really that you want to do. The other big thing about the big box stores, water softeners and water filtration equipment on a whole, again, be it iron filters, tannin filters, or whatever, there's no support community whatsoever. So there's no YouTube videos like the ones that I make about how to service them, how to troubleshoot them, those kinds of things. They're just not out there. There's nobody really knows how to fix them. A lot of people know how to replace them because that's typically what happens. And so that's what you have to be concerned about. Now let's talk about reverse osmosis drinking water systems. So this is our most popular reverse osmosis drinking water system here. This is the Hume water care system. This is the one that's in my house. Again, it's made in North America. It's a great system. Whoops. It's a high efficiency system, and so very little water being wasted. It's a great seller, and it's fast. It'll fill a 12-ounce glass in just around 6 seconds, which is super fast. In fact, it's so fast that the water actually splashes out of it. It's assembled for us in the US. It's assembled, and they use really high quality fittings. So one of the fittings, or one of the things that are really important about reverse osmosis systems are these fittings, okay? And what happens is there's a huge difference between the fittings that you find in a in the Hume Water Care or the Gold Line 50 reverse osmosis systems that are also manufactured in the United States, and the Chinese ones out there. Again, the tubing pops out, a little bit of a bend, it leaks, all kinds of concerns with those. So that's definitely something you have to watch for. High flow. So again, let me see if this will focus for me. All right. So as you can see on this side, the tubing is larger than on this side. If you look at the Chinese reverse osmosis systems, they've got that smaller tubing everywhere, okay? Whereas the Water Saver 75 and the Gold Line 50, they have the smaller tubing servicing it, the water fills the tank, and then from the tank to your faucet or to the tea that goes to your fridge, etc., is all the 3/8 inch tubing. So what that means is you got a lot more flow, it's a lot faster, and makes a big difference. And the chances of, if you just got a little trickle of water flowing from that reverse osmosis faucet, the chances of everyone in your family using it or not is pretty slim, because they're not patient and they're not going to wait. So that's an important thing. So let's talk about the Chinese systems again. So we've had a number of issues with the Chinese systems, and what has happened a number of times is after a period of time, usually a couple years, the filter housings actually start to unscrew. We've had that happen with 3 or 4 of them. Luckily, we caught them fairly quickly, and there was no damage to the kitchen or where they were installed, but they literally started to undo. And then we went in, and the customer mentioned that. We went in, we tightened them up, and sure enough, a month or 2 later, they started to undo again. And it was crazy. We had some cracking, and we had some leaking. Anyway, we don't install the Chinese ones. We haven't for many, many years because of the concerns that we had. It's scary stuff. Remember, it's water in your home, and often it's in a finished area like a kitchen, so you definitely wouldn't want to have any leaks. So that's a big potential area of concern. And remember, I was talking a few minutes ago about how fast the Water Saver 75 fills a glass of water. So again, I've got a video down below in the description. Click on the link and check it out for yourself. So let's see if we're getting some questions here, and I see we are here. So, all right, Mr. Big 360. Gary, what would be a very good and simple setup for a well system and whole house filtration? Oh, what happened there? Low levels of sulfur and iron in water. I would also like to soften and filter out any chemicals. Thanks. That's a great question, and what happens is that when you're in a situation like that, you really need a water test. Now, I'm going to give you I'm going to let you in on a bit of a secret. My next live stream, which is going to be in about a month, is going to be about exactly this topic. We're actually going to be doing looking at water test results and what you need for that. And that is the first step of this whole process. And that is, you really need an analysis done. We really need to know how much iron you have in your water, how much sulfur you have in your water, how hard your water is, and also find out if you have high mineral content. Again, we're talking about well water. You might have high sodium in your water. And that would affect all these things. So that's what I encourage you, is that either you have a full analysis done, or you can always mail us a sample. I'll put our mailing address in the description down below, and you can mail us a sample. I get samples in here all the time. We don't charge for that. And then we can test it. And then from there, once I have that information, I also need to know your gallons per minute flow rate coming from your well pump and how many people in your household, because that tells me how much water you use. All right, let's keep on moving here. Okay. So again, let's get back to that comparison between the North American reverse osmosis systems and the Chinese ones. So manifolds. So it seems like the Chinese ones, there's a lot of Chinese ones that offer the quick connect fittings. So what am I talking about here? This. So this is one here, for example. And I'll try to hide the brand a little bit so I don't get into trouble. But so what happens is these ones have become very popular because they're easier for the customer to change than these kind here. And that is because all you do is a quarter turn, disconnects it, you remove it, and then put the new one on, quarter turn on, and you're ready to go. The only problem is the manifold, the part at the top that this screws into, leaks. And it usually happens about every 2 or 3 years. And when that leaks, guess what? You can't just buy the manifold. You have to buy a whole new reverse osmosis system. So what typically happens is they'll start to leak just after you've done a filter change. So now you've bought these very expensive filters, and these filters often are like 25 or 30 bucks a piece compared to the ones that fit the non-proprietary ones that fit our Hume Water Care or our Gold Line 50 reverse osmosis systems. They're like a lot less money than that, almost half the money for those ones, especially if you buy them in a set. And so what happens is that now you're committed. You've just bought those filters. You've basically used them because you unwrapped them and you've put them in. So now what you have to go out and buy a replacement reverse osmosis system, the same system, put in the new filters, and again, hopefully you'll get a little bit more than 2 or 3 years out of it, but that constantly happens. So watch out for those super easy, quick connect fittings. The other thing is, filters, the other thing is, with these ones, if they stop making these, then your system's obsolete. Does that happen? Absolutely. I get an email about once every couple of months that's happened to, oh, this company no longer makes my RO system and I can't get filters anymore. What should I do? Well, the solution is easy. Get a reverse osmosis system with non-proprietary filters like these Gold Line 50 or the Water Saver 75, because those filters fit those systems and like 50 other systems. And there's all different brands of filters that fit those, so they'll never be obsolete. All right, I see we're getting some more questions. Let's dive in. And okay, Dan, when transitioning from salt to pellets, do you have to empty all crystals? No, you don't. And you can just add them right on top, and away they go. It'll absorb it, it'll take it, no problem at all. And Mr. Big responded that he appreciated my reply, and he's looking forward to the next live stream, asking me to keep up the good. Well, I better put it up here, otherwise you think I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that for myself, right? But no, Mr. Big really said that, so that's great. And oh, got a great question here from Pierre. In terms of market share or sales, how do the North American products compare to the Asian ones? You know, that's a really good question. And I think it depends in terms of where. I mean, everyone knows that a lot of people buy from Amazon. And a lot of the products on Amazon are Chinese products, right? And so it's hard to say. I mean, Amazon's huge. Lots of people buy from Amazon. Lots of people swear by Amazon. You know, this is where they do their shopping. It saves them lots of money and things like that. I tend to think with water filtration that might be a little bit different. And I think definitely 5 or 6 years ago, I think there was a lot more market share with the Chinese products, but I found in the last few years people are really changing their tune. In fact, you know, when I do a sales presentation in a home, in one of our local areas here, and I go out to a customer's home and I test their water, and then I ask them what their concerns are, test their water, do a plumbing analysis, and then from there I can make a recommendation. And as I'm talking about products, I say, oh, and by the way, this is made in Canada, or it's made in the USA. People just light right up and they say, absolutely, that's what I want. And I'm just surprised that I think that the manufacturers just are not upplaying that enough. One of the filters I'm going to show you a little bit later on, I'm not going to tell you which company it was. It's a brand of North America, actually US made water filters. And I phoned that company because I wasn't clear. There was no label on the product that said it was made in USA, but my understanding was that they were. I had to speak to 3 different people in that company, and I think the third one was either the VP of sales or something to do with sales, before they actually knew they could answer my question. And the question was, are your filters made in the United States? And I couldn't believe it, how many people weren't sure. You'd think that every single person, right down to the operator, the receptionist, the guy that sweeps the floors, would know that and would be proud of that, and would be, you know, they would be shouting it from the rooftops, but for some reason they weren't. So I was really shocked at that. So, all right, so let me continue on here. And so I was talking about comparing North American made products to Chinese. And so a great video I made a while ago, Best RO for Your Family, and I literally did a head-to-head comparison between the best-selling reverse osmosis system on Amazon to our Hume Water Saver 75, and it did a head-to-head comparison between the two. And I definitely encourage you, like I say, the link is in the description down below. I definitely encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. But it really talks about all those other factors. So let's switch to ultraviolet disinfection systems. So for those of you folks that are on well water or surface water of some sort, ultraviolet system is definitely what you're looking for to kill any bacteria in the water. So we handle two brands of ultraviolet disinfection systems primarily, and one is the Water Saver 75. So again, this is a Hume water care product here. Again, made in Canada. It's actually made in London, Ontario. It's a great product. It's actually what's in my house, and it's our best-selling ultraviolet disinfection system. But we also and we handle a full line of products from that brand. I think they UV Dynamics is who makes it for us, and I think they've got something like about 30 or 40 different listings of ultraviolet disinfection systems. Everything from small 6-gallon-per-minute systems all the way up to commercial systems, monitored systems, etc. And the thing about UV Dynamics, it's a very no-nonsense approach to a product. So it's a great product, lots of value for the money, and super high build quality. And we also handle Viqua products, which is here. So this is a Viqua ultraviolet disinfection system, a 3-stage system. This is for a single faucet at the kitchen sink. And again, it's a made in Canada system. And we've had a lot of luck with that system. Great build quality, super easy to get replacement filters. Again, uses non-proprietary filters, easy to get the lamps, etc. So definitely a great product. And again, Viqua is a huge company. They offer ultraviolet disinfection systems worldwide and replacement filters, and it's all non-proprietary, so it's super easy to get, and you never have to worry about not being able to find replacement filters for your products. And they make huge municipal systems too. So like I say, it's a major player in the So let's talk about the comparison of Chinese. So I have a Chinese ultraviolet disinfection system here. Okay, and it doesn't matter what brand it is, because they're very common. You see them like this all the time. And so the first problem that they have with these ones is that it doesn't say what model number it is. So if you were to purchase this and install this in your house, then a year down the road, when it comes time to replace the lamp, you wouldn't know what system you have, so you don't know what lamp to buy. So I actually made a YouTube video that helps those folks, that actually by measuring the length of the lamp itself, or measuring the length of the sleeve from there, and a little chart that I have on that video, it determines which replacement UV lamp or sleeve that you need. You'd think it'd be something really obvious, but you know, it's been like that for 10 years. For 10 years this product's been on the market, and it's sold under a lot of different brand names. But for 10 years, and even the new ones being installed today by some of our competitors still don't have the model number on there. You'd think you'd at least put it on there with a little bit of tape or something like that. But so the biggest problem with these ones when you're in the field is this, and I'll show you. Oh, great, it focuses. Okay, so if I pull this off, so inside here is the sleeve. Try not to drop this on my computer. So do you see here? Oh, let me get this focus for you. All right, so you see up here there's an O-ring, right? Well, first of all, you see how very little space there is at the end of this quartz sleeve. And I've had it happen before where you slide this quartz sleeve in, you're supposed to center it. I'll show you the other end here. Whoop. So you can see. So you slide the quartz sleeve inside, you center it, and again, you can see how, let me get that so it focuses for you. You see how little protrudes from the end? So I've had it happen before where you put the two ends together, you screw it on, you add the water pressure, and boom! Water comes flying out the end because the sleeve has shifted just enough to let a little bit of water through and just blows out the O-ring, and you get this huge leak. And so I've had that happen. I've had customers call me up that have these systems, and they say they've tried replacing it. They absolutely cannot get the sleeve out to clean it. And so because of that, they needed a service call. They needed us to come in and do it for them. So unfortunately, Another big problem with getting the sleeve out is these O-rings. These O-rings, after they've been in for about a year or so, and that's how long it would take before the lamp needs to be replaced, you cannot get them out of there. You cannot get the sleeve out there. You can't shift the sleeve back and forth. It's totally stuck in there. So the only way you can get it out is by grabbing a screwdriver like this one here and then picking away at that O-ring to get it out. And it's super tough to get it out. And you're totally afraid, especially when you get to this end, which is of course the end that you're going to be replacing the lamp on, because it's the open end, okay, of cracking that sleeve. And I've seen it cracked. And then if it cracks, you know, I've had some people say, well, it's just cracked, it'll be okay, won't it, Gary? No, it won't, actually. It's going to burst. And when it bursts, it's going to flood your house. So, and that's a huge, huge problem with those ones. And so because of that, you need to definitely think twice. So, yep, when it comes to cost, that Chinese ultraviolet disinfection system is quite a bit cheaper than the Canadian-made ones. But it's water in your house. Don't forget that. And if you're going to be doing the maintenance yourself, then you know, think about that, because it's going to cause you a lot of grief, and you're going to a lot of uncertainty. Is this thing going to leak or not? And what inevitably happens is that people end up, I'm not going to pull out this quartz sleeve because it makes I'm paranoid. Well, that quartz sleeve is going to become totally coated with limescale or iron or whatever. The light isn't going to shine through, so you've replaced the light. Is it working? I don't know, because it's probably not, because it can't shine through that stuff that's built up on the sleeve. So, any more comments out there, folks? No? Okay. No? Okay, well, if you got some comments, now's your time. It's a great time for me to answer your questions, and we can move on. And so, another story in the field. So, when we started in this business, like I say, almost 20 years ago, we had a great 3-stage ultraviolet disinfection system that was made in Canada. It was a great system. We installed lots of them. The maintenance was a little bit tough on it, to be honest, but there was lots of them on the market, and we made do. After a while, they started making them in the United States. They were still great. We had great service. About 8 years ago, they started making them in China. What a disaster. You couldn't even assemble them. When you went to install them, they would always leak. It was a disaster. We just totally got rid of that product. I see it's still on the market. I can't imagine who would buy it, but anyway, like I say, it's out there. So, yeah. Like with a lot of the Chinese product, not that particular one that I showed you earlier, but a lot of the Chinese stuff, what happens is the manufacturer has an ultraviolet disinfection system. Somebody in North America buys a couple thousand of them, buys a couple thousand UV lamps, brings them over here, sells them off cheap on Amazon or somewhere like that. Year or two, you need a new bulb, can't get it, because they're not available anymore. They've changed the design, they've moved on. So, see, we've got another comment here. Mr. Big is back. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. Gary, how do you get bacteria in well water? Is there any maintenance with the UV light? Yeah, sure there is. UV light, the sleeve needs to be cleaned, and the light bulb itself lasts for 12 months. It has the ability to kill bacteria up to 12 months. After that, it'll still kill bacteria, but it starts to dwindle, the amount of ultraviolet light that it's creating to be able to kill that bacteria. So that's the maintenance, and it's ongoing maintenance. But it gives you a lot of peace of mind for your family, that's for sure. I have one in my house, for example. We moved 4 years ago from being in town to living out in the country. And my wife said, there's no way we're moving in there without a UV. So, and it gives you a lot of peace of mind, I have to admit. So, all right. Let's talk about one more thing. And that is, so the UV lights, the actual bulbs that are used in UV Dynamics and the Viqua products are, although the systems are made in Canada, the bulbs are actually made in USA. So here's a Viqua one, for example. I put the sticker on here, so the Viqua ones, like I say, the bulbs are made in USA, and so are the UV Dynamics. In fact, they tell me there's only a few manufacturers in the United States that make UV lamps, and that's where they're made. So, but people say, hey, Gary, you can go on Amazon and you can buy some UV lamps for less than half the price than what the OEM ones are. Absolutely, you can do that. Guess what? The problem is they don't create enough ultraviolet light to actually kill the bacteria for what your system was rated for. That's the first problem. The second problem is those UV lamps are supposed to last for a year. Those other ones, those Chinese ones you get on Amazon, absolutely do not. They never last for a year. So all of a sudden it's working and all of a sudden it's not. Is that what you want for your family? No, you've invested in a quality ultraviolet disinfection system. You want to make sure that it keeps on working. And those knockoff bulbs, they're nothing but trouble. All right, so again, I talked about a couple of different manufacturers of ultraviolet disinfection systems, and you might find it interesting. I did this comparison. I did a head-to-head comparison between ultraviolet system from Viqua and the ultraviolet system from UV Dynamics. Talked about the pros and cons, and if you like that kind of thing, you might find it really interesting. Definitely check it out. Like I say, it's a little bit of fun and it's interesting. So what about water filters? People say to me, well, I've already got my filtration system, I've already got my water softener, etc. How, yeah, I would like to support the North American market, but I just don't need any more stuff. What about water filters? So I just did a video, I think it was last week, about made in USA water filters. And again, we've got a bunch of listings of those. They are here, for example. I have a different packaging on this one, but here they are. They're a great product. Are they more money than the Chinese ones? Yeah. Are they twice as much? No, absolutely not. They're only a little bit more, about $1 more, $1.50 more, something like that. So they're hardly any extra cost. And again, it's a great way of supporting the North American manufacturing, the North American economy. So so definitely check that out. See, we're getting some more questions. Let's check it out here. Oh, sorry, Mr. Big, when he asked his question earlier, the first part of his question was, how do you get bacteria in well water? Well, bacteria eventually, somehow, some surface water, some runoff, maybe you got a farm nearby, maybe you got beavers nearby, whatever, you get some runoff, that gets into the well and it gets bacteria in the well. You can also get it from earwigs. Earwigs get in through the top of the well, they die, they fall in, they decompose, mice, rodents, stuff like that. That's how you can get bacteria in the well. When are you going to get it? Are you going to get it this week, this month, this year? I don't know, okay? And that's the thing. The only way you know for sure you have it or don't have it is by having the water continually tested, or put in something to make sure you never have bacteria in your water, like an ultraviolet disinfection system. So that's it. All right. Are there different quality in terms of UV light? Pierre, thanks for that question, Pierre. Different quality in terms of UV light. Other than what I was talking about, the Chinese bulbs, etc., yeah, there's some different qualities there where the Chinese bulbs don't just give off the right amount of ultraviolet light to kill the bacteria, especially if you got a system that's an 8-gallon per minute system or a 10-gallon per minute system or a 15-gallon per minute system. You're not going to get that. And so there are different qualities of bulbs. The certified systems, the systems that are made by, like I say, again, we talk about the consumer protection and the standards of North American manufacturers. So again, the Canadian ones, the UV Dynamics and the Viqua, they're definitely high quality. The lamps are high quality. They'll last you the 12 months, etc. So that's why it's important, because we're killing bacteria. I talked to a guy at one of the Cottage Life shows a couple years ago, and I was talking to him about ultraviolet disinfection systems, and he says, man, he says, we're talking about killing bacteria. That's what's going to keep my family from getting sick. I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't care what it costs. I want the best, and that's really the point, right? You want to make sure your family stays safe. And here's a great question from Evan. Whoops. From Evan, what's the best cleaner to use for the quartz sleeve? I use CLR. I mean, folks say, yeah, you can use vinegar, you can use other cleaners and that kind of thing. I use CLR. I find that it works well, it works quickly. I mean, if I'm doing a service call in your home, you don't want me hanging around for 45 minutes waiting for the vinegar to start to clean up that sleeve. But remember, that sleeve has to be clean. If you can't get that sleeve clean, you have to replace it. Because what happens is when that sleeve gets dirty, it's like drawing a curtain across that ultraviolet light, and it no longer works. In fact, it's worse than not having one, because now you've got a false sense of security. And so that's, you definitely have to make sure that sleeve is clean. And, but like I say, I use CLR. All right, so we were talking about water filters, and we were talking about some of the, we've got dual gradient ones, we've got things like that, and some of our made in USA water filters are actually less money than the Chinese ones. And again, I got some links down below, you want to check that out. Definitely worthwhile. And so we've got a lot of specifications here. I'll flash them on the screen briefly so I don't bore you too much. But these are the specifications that these filters go through to make sure that they're safe for you and your family. And again, a lot of great information there. I'm not going to read off those specs, obviously. Bore you with that. And again, I spoke earlier about a video that I made not that long ago that really goes in depth about our made in USA water filters. And again, you may want to check that out. And, all right, so let's move on. And again, we've got carbon filters too that are made in USA. They're not available in the big blue size, but they are available in the slimline size. In this size here, where are they here? These ones here. Another great company that manufactures these, and you definitely want to check those out. Again, they're only slightly more money than the Chinese ones. Do they give you a better performance than the Chinese ones? No, they're about the same, but they're made to better standards. And again, you're supporting the North American manufacturing and the North American job market. So I think that's good for everyone. And again, these are the criteria that they're rated for. So, you know, I think that's great information, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. Specialty filters. And like I say, these companies also have specialty filters, everything from tannin filters. One back here. These tannin filter cartridges, you know, they're manufactured in the United States, and this company Aries has a full line of specialty filters, calcite filters, Corasex filters, all different kinds of filters that again are made in the United States. Specialty filters for specialty purposes. We also have membranes. We have reverse osmosis. Whoops. We also also have reverse osmosis membranes that are manufactured in the United States. And again, great products. So great ways that you can support the North American market. All right, so Aquatech booster and delivery pumps. Let's see if I got a picture of these. Yeah, so again, we've got booster pumps for reverse osmosis systems, a way to boost the water pressure, to increase the flow when you've got a number of faucets on the same reverse osmosis system. And so again, we got them, they're made in the US, they're actually made in California. And again, they're a great product. They've got a huge range of different pumps and for different applications. So definitely something to check out. If you're looking if you've got high mineral content, you want to force that water through your reverse osmosis system, or like I say, your reverse osmosis system is quite a ways away from where your faucets are, you've got multiple faucets, you can use a delivery pump to push that water through. So definitely something you may want to check out. Whole house and commercial reverse osmosis systems. So again, I did a series of videos a few years ago about these whole house reverse osmosis systems, and they're used in car washes, they're used in homes that have super high sodium in their water, etc., or super hard water and that kind of thing. And again, our systems are whole house reverse osmosis systems are manufactured in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in Canada. They're great build quality. I actually have one here in our store that we make the water, or we filter the water for our customers that come in and fill their water jugs. So that's a great thing. Chinese ones are available. Sure, Chinese ones are out there. They're available. But can you imagine, you know, I mean, these are expensive systems. Here, I'll show you a picture of it here so you have a better idea of what I'm talking about. So these are expensive systems. That blue cylinder is 20 inches long. So these are big, expensive systems. And sure, you can buy these from the Chinese ones, but if you ever need a solenoid, or you ever need a controller, or you ever need a replacement pump, or a motor, or something like that, you're never going to be able to match that up, and you're never going to be able to get it. So it's not something that you want to save money on. And so I got another question here. Let's see. Again, this one's from Pierre. Can you remove water hardness with filters? Yeah, you can, actually. And I've seen some reverse osmosis systems that I've seen these 7, 8, 9 stage reverse osmosis systems. These guys come around, they phone you around supper time, and they come around your house and they try to sell you these reverse osmosis systems for $3,000 or some insane amount of money like that. And they tell you because it's a 9-stage system, it's much better than Gary's 5-stage systems. 9 is better than 5, right? Wrong. So they have these filter cartridges that are this size that are water softening cartridges. The problem is they don't work very long at all, and they might work for a month or something like that. The problem is it's the same media that's inside a water softener, and as you may or may not know, you need to regenerate that media with sodium. Well, of course, you can't do that when it's a filter cartridge that's in there like that. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some applications where it'd be beneficial to use them, but I really can't think of any and they are quite expensive too. So it's probably not something that you'd want to go in. Oh, sorry, when I was showing you earlier, I was saying this size. So you can get water softener cartridges this size, but like I say, the only problem is they don't last very long at all. So, and they're quite expensive. So that's probably not something that you want to do. And so again, I've got a great video on those whole house reverse osmosis systems down below. You can find the link for that, and you can check that out and see if you'd like to get some more information about that. So given the opportunity, most Americans say that they would prefer to buy made in America, and definitely the same thing is true about Canada too. But there's so few, there's so few things that you can actually buy that's made in North America to support the North American manufacturing, the North American economy, tax base, all those other things. Like take clothing, for example. 97% of all clothing sold in the United States is not made in the United States. That's amazing that it's so little. Electronics, 0 electronics made in the United States. So, but you can buy made in USA water filtration products, and you can buy made in Canada water filtration products too, as we talked about here a little bit earlier. What about the price? Is that the elephant in the room? What about the price? Yeah, the stuff is more expensive. There's no question about that. Everything from like $1 or $2 to a few $100s on things like that. But they last a lot longer. You can get parts. You can get service. You can get backup. There's lots of YouTube videos. There's lots of information, and that's all there. So that's a good, it's worth the extra money. That's really the thing. And again, remember, it's water in your home. You don't want to take a chance on something bursting and having one of those massive insurance claims. Believe me, they're no fun at all. The dealers and the manufacturers in North America are definitely there to make sure that you're satisfied. And so what's the bottom line? So the bottom line out of this whole thing is better build quality, longer service life, more reliable, less likely cause insurance claim, easier to service, more do-it-yourself support, replacement components availability, and the bonus is the human rights, North American jobs, boost North American economy, and minimize the impact on the environment. Those are the bonuses. Thanks for watching. Do we have any more questions? We do not. I really appreciate everyone watching. It's great to participate with you. I do these about once a month, and like I say, if you're interested, you can subscribe. I really appreciate that. But tune into my channel. Lots of great information there. Almost 300 videos now on the channel, so there's lots of information about a lot of topics. Any comments? Add them down below, and I definitely read them all, and I definitely try to answer them all. And sometimes it takes a few days, but I do get there. I promote our upcoming live streams on our community tab of our channel. Just go to the channel, Gary the Water Guy, and then just scroll over to where it says community. Click on that, and you'll be notified about the new ones that come up. And I post new videos every single Saturday, except when I do a live stream. So this Saturday, I won't be posting a new video because I'll be promoting this one because we just did it on Thursday. And so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.